Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before we begin with the video, I just first have to say thank you all so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. I haven't had the chance to thank you because I've been MIA for a couple of months now, but I am back. So I wanted to just say welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for supporting me. At this point, last time I checked, we were at like 560 subscribers, so thank you so much for continuing to support me on this journey. If you notice a difference in terms of the camera quality, I ended up getting a new camera because my other one broke. So like my camera I used to film on my iPhone is, I don't know if you could tell, but it cracked. So I figured it was time to get a new camera. So that's where we are now. So hopefully you like the quality. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into the video. I make lots of videos here on YouTube about my journey getting ready to go to medical school. Some of the content I have filmed previously has included me getting ready to take the MCAT, my journey as a medical assistant, and as well as taking post-bac classes. So if you're interested in hearing more about my journey, then just keep on watching. For my returning viewers, you guys know I kind of went MIA for about 3 months, honestly 4 at this point, almost 5, almost half a year. That's crazy. All because I was telling you I was getting ready to take the MCAT in March. It's because at the time I was working one job and taking 2 classes, and I felt like it was so hard to like focus on MCAT while I was doing that. But then I had bills to pay, so I ended up picking up another job on top of that, and so adding YouTube into the mix of it was just extremely difficult, and I had a hard time managing it. I decided to take time off to just focus on studying for the MCAT, my classes, as well as work. What I've been doing for these past 4 months or this whole semester is just going to school, going to work, and studying for the MCAT. So my first MCAT exam, if you've watched my MCAT journey, you should definitely go check it out, was canceled. And so I took that as a sign that, you know, maybe I put on too much, and I was so relieved it was canceled because I was not scoring what I wanted to score. So then I moved out my MCAT date, and what ended up happening, what I should have done was just completely discontinued my I should have just let that, I don't want to harp on it for sure, but looking back in hindsight now, what I should have done was just saw that as an opportunity that maybe I shouldn't take the MCAT right now. Maybe I should just focus on school and just focus on working and reevaluate my plan in terms of getting ready to go into my program. After that, a host of other issues happened. I ended up rescheduling the MCAT for April 9th, and that still was not enough time for me to study, and I still never got the hang of it. So I took my MCAT. I didn't feel good about it, and then I went back to just working and doing school. And then another issue with school came up where my teacher was basically trying to fail me. That's a whole other situation I'm going to talk about. So moral of the story, he did end up failing me, and that is something I am currently going through a grade appeal process. I don't really want to discuss it until I reach a resolution of that, but it's ultimately been pretty exhausting, and as you could probably imagine, been incredibly difficult for me to unpack all of that. And then I received my MCAT score, and it was not good at all. I don't want to share it at this point. It just, yeah. And so basically that whole application I was working on was due, and I didn't want to submit the MCAT score, and I feel terrible about my grades from undergrad. It just felt like, yeah, I'm not going to get in. So at this point in stage now that classes have ended, I'm going through a grade appeal because of everything that professor put me through this semester, and I just don't agree with him failing me. Receiving the MCAT score, I submitted that application to the school, still have not heard back in terms of an interview. According to the website, it says that they're going to be sending out interview invites through May, and after May, then they're going to be sending out acceptances. So if I don't get an interview within this next week, chances are I'm going to get denied. And so I feel like if I'm being practical, I'm not going to get accepted this year based off of my stats and whatnot. It's an extremely competitive program I applied to. It would be a miracle. I really hoped and believed with everything I had in me that I was going to get in. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a test of faith because I believed in God so much that He was gonna carry me through, but it just didn't work. So I have come to reach an acceptance with myself that is not going to be, that may not possibly be my plan. Plus all of the experiences, the obstacles I've had with the MCAT changing its date, to the effect it had on my application submission, to this now professor's trying to fail me. I just feel like all of these are just signs that I kind of need to slow down and reevaluate. And so basically at this point I reached out to another university to do another basically post-bac, but it's a formal post-bac. So right now I'm doing informal, just taking classes. But I reached out to an actual program to do a master's post-bac, pretty much, where you get a master's in medical sciences, boost, your GPA, but on a grad school level versus undergraduate level. They have a program where you can do within the program itself, there's a way you can get MCAT prep. So I figured that would be a good way to go. I talked to the admissions there. They told me everything I need to do to get into that program. It's not guaranteed acceptance to any medical school, but it's supposed to help prepare you to become a better candidate. So that is what I'm looking at doing now. All I have to do for that is complete the GRE and submit my application, and then I would move away and go do that for a year, and that's what I'm looking to do now. Now, as for my medical assistant job, if that moves into the right direction, I would end up leaving. If that doesn't go well and my appeal does not go well, by the grace of God, I hope it does, then I would have no choice but to retake physics. Probably I would just go ahead and study for the MCAT again without taking any classes, and then apply to the post-bac again. But like I said, I don't really know what exactly it is I'm going to end up doing because there's so much to unpack. As you can see, I'm having a hard time even explaining this to you because so much has happened. But all I'm trying to say is that I feel ultimately really discouraged, which is kind of why I haven't made any videos, is because I've just been on the go, and it's left me with pretty much, I feel no results. And it's just been highly discouraging. I even thought about considering a career change and thinking about law school. Maybe I should do law because of the injustice I experienced with this teacher. But at the end of the day, I feel like as much as this has tested my faith, I think God is really just telling me to slow down and really take care of my mental health, and also take the time to actually understand things instead of trying to rush into it. I feel like this year was about me rushing into a program that I didn't really take the time to actually do well with, what I'm doing. And it's just really hard because I'm young. I'm 22 years old, but I feel old. I feel like each year is a year of wasting, and I'm going to be taking forever to get into it. And so it's it's just ugh. So God is really testing me with patience. And so I think that's ultimately what I want to decide to do for the next year. Just be patient and just go with the process of what God has for me. What He has will be for me, and there's nothing that anybody can do to take that away from me. And yeah, so that's everything academically. The last piece I wanted to talk about, not really sure if anybody cares about it, but I think this is very important in terms of what it has like, how it has affected me. I was in a very toxic situation with a person for a year and a half, and I'm just gonna be frank, it was a narcissistic, emotionally abusive, or psychological violent relationship. But I was not in a committed relationship with this person, but we were in the process of getting into that, and so it was really emotionally damaging. I think I mentioned this briefly at a certain point on my channel before this last year, but I really was in love, I thought, with this person, so I gave them kind of chance after chance, but it just got to be mentally destroying for me, and basically it carried itself into this year and into like my schooling this year, my MCAT, and so it finally came to a complete end at the end of or right around like a couple days ago, actually. Yeah, like a week ago in May. And so now I'm like going through the healing of that whole traumatic thing. If you're interested in hearing a video about, you know, that personal side of my life, I would be more than happy to talk about it. But I do feel like that was a big contributor of why I, you know, haven't been making videos, in addition to the other issues I was having. With that being said, now I feel like I know exactly what kind of videos I want to be making in the future. I still want to keep up with my medical assistant videos, as I'm still a medical assistant, but I definitely want to focus more on what I'm actually doing as a pre-med at this point to try to get into a post-bac. So I don't know how to title those videos. I don't know if anybody else is, I said I don't know how many times, but I really don't know if anybody else is currently going through this struggle, if you've had not the greatest GPA or not the greatest MCAT, if you've struggled to get into a post-bac program or into medical school or whatever the case is. I just hope that I can make a video for somebody else who may be in the same situation as I am in, and that way you can see my process. Okay, so actually one of my favorite medical post-bac YouTubers, her channel is called Finance to Medicine. It's literally finance, number 2, and then medicine. She just got into medical school. I've been keeping up with her journey for 3 years now, and like I'm just so happy for her. But it just goes to show, like, it takes time. Like, she graduated and it took her 3 years to get in. She took, I think, 2 gap years, or, you know, whatever the case is. And so she's finally getting in there. So now it's just like me, I'm just trying to rush it. But, like, maybe I just gotta be patient. And so this is my first gap year. And next year, hopefully I'll be in a post-bac, and then finally the year after that, I will be in the medical school application cycle. So that is where we're headed, and God has bigger plans than I can imagine. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any suggestions of videos I should make, please leave them in the comments down below, and I would greatly be happy to get back to you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.